I no longer fear trying something new. I may have been created in the dark, but I will now live in the light.
We see Bane, clearly older and covered in injuries, sitting in a locker room. You see, Bane is now a professional wrestler, and just minutes ago, he was wrestling a guy dressed as Batman. As he wrestled, he remembered his past, growing up in a prison, committing all kinds of crimes. But when he grabs the wrestler and lifts him up, he thinks back to one of his greatest feats, breaking the bat. He steps on him, and the bell begins to ring. As the crowd goes crazy, we see the wrestler telling the referee that he can't feel his legs. But as Bane raises his championship belt above his head, the crowd erupts, shouting wildly. As Bane returns to the locker room, a man tells him he's never heard a crowd roar that loudly before, and that's when we see that it's the wrestler who had been dressed as Batman. Bane compliments him on how convincingly he sold the injury in the ring and tells him it was an honor to wrestle with him. He then leaves the building, and we see a long line of fans waiting for autographs. His promoter hands him extra money for today's work and tells him that a group of women are waiting for him. But Bane looks at them, says, "Maybe not today," and gets into his car. He goes home, takes a shower, and grabs a book. As he walks through his rooms, we see shelves full of awards and memorabilia from his past. But when he finally sits down, it becomes clear which memory Bane holds closest to his heart. The memory of him breaking the bat. As he looks at it, he smiles, but the smile quickly fades as he realizes it's all in the past. But then a mysterious man steps into the room. Bane looks at him, grabs him, and begins to scream, demanding to know how he dared invade his home.
Wait!
The man reaches into his bag and takes something out, and that's when we see that it's
Venom.
Impossible. How?
Bane is shocked as the man explains that a new laboratory in Texas has begun producing it again. He tells Bane that he stole the sample because he heard Bane would pay a huge amount of money for it. As Bane looks at it, memories of his prime flood back, days when everyone feared him. But after staring at it, he drops it into the fireplace. The man gets furious, screaming at him, but Bane grabs him again and tells him to show him the laboratory. He warns him that if he doesn't agree, he's going to die. And after Bane drops him...
So it's true then. The legends about you. It's not just some wrestling act. You really are Bane. You beat Batman. You broke the bat.
I did more than that. I killed Batman.
And that's when we find out how Batman died. You see, years ago, Batman was trying to destroy every trace of venom, believing it was too dangerous. But when he broke into one of the laboratories, he found Bane there, doing the exact same thing. Realizing how deadly venom truly was, Bane asked Batman to set aside their past for a moment and make a truce. But Batman refused, so Bane tried again, telling him that once all the venom was destroyed, they would have their final fight.
And he said yes?
The Bat knew he needed me. Even though his hate for me burned bright, we worked together to find every drop of venom in the world.
Bane then asks the guy, what did he do to get into the business? And he explains that he was born into it, telling him that after his dad got into a huge debt, he did everything to repay it, telling him that this was the reason why he tried selling venom to Bane. But that's when the guy interrupts him and asks him to finish the story with Batman. And Bane once again begins telling him how they started to work together, how they never really spoke to each other, but understood one another perfectly in silence. But as they worked together, Bane explains that, like always, his journey with Batman led him back to
Gotham.
Bane and Batman find a huge batch of venom, but that's when they hear heavy footsteps coming their way. When they turn, they see a monster named Grudge, who with a single touch can infect a person with massive doses of venom. Grudge starts speaking to them, saying that being unbelievably strong is the only way to survive in this world. Then he begins touching prisoners nearby, and they start transforming, becoming venom-infused monsters. As Bane and the man get closer and closer to the laboratory, Bane continues his story, explaining how difficult it was to fight Grudge, since getting anywhere near him meant risking infection by venom. But after they dealt with his army, Bane says they ended up on a rooftop with Grudge, and
Batman, we are out of time!
Bane grabs the electromagnetic pulse device that was supposed to knock out Grudge, but before he can use it,
Bane! Activate the EMP!
as the venom spreads through Batman's bloodstream, Bane begins to scream that if he uses it, Batman might die. But Batman just looks at him and yells for him to go. So Bane presses the button and...
No way. Batman died saving you?
That is why I must know who continues to produce venom, to stop them, to honor Batman's sacrifice.
A group of men discover the intruders and hit Bane from behind, knocking him out. And as he fades, he remembers his mother. She hugs him and tells him how proud she is of what he has become after everything he endured being born in the dark. Bane wakes up and starts searching for the man he came with, but a group of men tell him he's already been taken care of. They explain that they deliberately let him steal from them, hoping he would lead Bane directly to them. As they continue punching him, they insult him, calling him weak and mocking his wrestling career. They then tell him that their master is waiting for him, but suddenly Bane starts to laugh. He breaks free from the chair with ease and begins to fight them, but gets stabbed in the process, before destroying everyone in the room. He then starts searching for the man they call Master. The voice follows him through the speakers, telling Bane that he's a big fan of his work. And when Bane finally reaches the room, we realize that it's Dr. Randolph Porter, better known as the creator of Venom and the father of Sissy Porter, the girl Batman once failed to save because he was too weak. The girl whose death is what led Batman to use Venom and eventually become addicted to it. The doctor tells Bane how he faked his death and continued working on his drug, but explains that his body finally took a toll and that he's dying. He says this is the reason he wanted to meet Bane, the ultimate result of his genius. Bane tells him that he had already worked on his body long before he ever took Venom, and says that if the doctor wants to die, Bane will grant his wish. The doctor then reveals the same man Bane arrived with and says that he will use him as his final test subject, injecting him with every version of Venom he ever created.
Bane? What's he talking about?
The doctor steps closer to Bane, trying to convince him to use Venom again. He reminds Bane of his glorious past and tells him that he wants to give him a second chance at life, telling him that he wants to experiment on him and perhaps even cure death itself. But Bane starts fighting him. The doctor asks why he keeps trying to protect and free the boy, and Bane tells him that there was no one to protect him when he was weak and young. And as he frees him, he instructs the boy to run. But that's when the doctor manages to grab Bane and breaks his back. As Bane lies there, Randolph grabs a jar of newly created venom, telling him that this version will not only give strength, but also restore the mind and make him peak again. He then offers it to the boy, but Bane starts screaming for him to stop. The boy looks at it and begins to think about it, but when Bane tells him that the pills are just another kind of prison, the man grabs him and starts injecting him with venom, but with his back destroyed, Bane gets up and tells him that if Batman could do it, then he can too. He tells the doctor that he was always more than Venom, and that not only his mind, but also his chemistry skills have always been sharp. He then mixes several venom samples together, drops it onto the doctor, and Bane grabs the boy and pulls him out of the fire, but the moment they reach safety, he collapses and passes out. When he finally wakes up, we hear a reporter on the television talking about the drug bust and about a man once known as Batman's greatest enemy, a man named Bane. But now, they say, people simply call him a hero. Bane listens from his hospital bed, and for a moment, everything seems like it might finally be all right. But that's when
I beat you. Again.
So you did. I investigated that venom supply chain for weeks. But you got there before me.
Bane asks if this is really it, if all of the venom is finally gone, and Bruce responds that most likely yes. Batman tells him that he still doesn't approve many of Bane's actions, but tells him that today he did a good job. But when he turns to leave...
Wait, listen. That day that I broke you, it was more than just Gotham. You represented my own fears, my dark past, the trauma I had endured in Peña Duro. It is my greatest accomplishment. I did what no one before could do. I beat the Batman. But it has become the worst day of my life. It was I who broke that day. Nothing I have done since has surpassed that moment. It feels like death.
Bane gets up and we see that the room is empty, yet he keeps talking to Batman, or maybe to the vision of him, telling him that it's finally time to keep his promise and fight. He also says that he knows he will probably lose, but tells him that he wants to die fighting him. But Bruce appears from the dark again, telling him that he knows how much one day can change and shape the entirety of their lives. He says that he tries to accept it, to own what that day made him, and simply tells Bane,
Find a reason to live. A new day. And then we can fight again.
Finally, at the end, we see Bane's mansion, empty and quiet. The man Bane saved approaches the doorway and asks if Bane is really going to teach him everything he knows. Bane tells him that he will, and that the two of them will escape their past together. And in the last moment, we see the old poster of Bane breaking Batman burning in the fireplace, as Bane smiles and drives away.